Are you new to reselling, or maybe you haven't even gotten started yet? In this video, I'm gonna break down 5 of my best tips to help you guys get started or to expand your business. So let's get into it. Tip number 1, don't waste time and go full steam ahead. When I'm saying go full steam ahead, I mean it. I mean, dive deep into this rabbit hole. Watch content creators, watch YouTubers, watch anyone that does this whole reselling nonsense and copy them. Literally take what they say and copy them. If I say, hey, go buy this North Face puffer jacket for this amount, go do that and try to make money that way. But don't start slow. That's a common problem I see is I have people DM me on Instagram, be like, hey, like what can I do to maybe make more sales? I'm not seeing anything. And I look at their store and they have like 40 items listed. You will not get anywhere with 40 items listed. You need to have hundreds of items listed. So that's why I say dive deep into this. Just go crazy. Spend as much money as you possibly can to jumpstart your inventory and then start trying to optimize things. But in the beginning, you need to get as much inventory and as much experience as possible and just get things out there. You need to try to make money. You need to make these quick flips, but too often people just like buy one thing a week here and there and they list it and then they say eBay doesn't work. You've listed 3 items in 6 months. That's why it doesn't work. Tip number 2, start now. Too many people do tip number 1 and they watch and they watch and they watch and they consume content based around whatever they want to start. In this video, we're talking about reselling, but it could be a million other plethora of side hustles. People don't start anything. They want to do research. They want to wait for this like perfect time. Oh, maybe I'll be a reseller when I retire in 5 years from my job. Why are you gonna do that? Start being a reseller now, and then 5 years from now, you're gonna have a great little income stream like when you are actually retired. All you gotta do is go walk around your house right now. Go in your closet. Go find something you don't wear. Go find that Xbox that's been tucked away in there that may even be broken. Go list those things online and try to sell them. Go on Facebook Marketplace. It's the easiest way to start, and just start listing stuff locally and see if it sells. Tip number 3, figure out your market. Just like I said, use Facebook Marketplace locally to sell stuff. You can do the same thing with buying stuff. Each part of the country, each part of the world has different demographics. You may live in a really rich area to where people just give away stuff for really cheap because they don't really care. But then on the other hand, you might live in a really poor area and there's nothing around in your area besides junk, so you may have to travel outside a little bit to find good stuff. You need to learn about your local market. I can tell you a million different things about mine, but that doesn't relate to you. Like take for example, I buy and sell a lot of hiking brands like Patagonia, North Face, these kinds of brands that are pretty common in the mountainous regions in Colorado, things like that. I get DMs from people in Florida, they're like, oh, hey, I've never found Patagonia. That's so cool that you find it. I'm like, well, I find it like all the time. It's not a big deal because everyone wears it here, right? But not that many people probably wear Patagonia all the time in Florida. So it's knowing your market, knowing what to expect, knowing what you can actually source to make money off of. It's so critical, but too many people kind of skip over that. Understand your area, understand your territory, and don't be afraid to branch out a little bit. Go to a different zip code. That might be the difference between you making money that day and you not making money that day. Tip number 4 is actually gonna piggyback off tip number 3, and it's learning your thrift stores. This is such a serious thing that people just don't seem to take seriously for some reason. Learning about your thrift stores is great, but having a process when you actually go into each and individual thrift store is really important too. So when I go into thrift stores, I do the same exact thing every single time. I take the same route, I go through the same sections every time. I look in the same little corners and crevices to where I know I have found good stuff before, and then I explore the rest of the store. I'm not going in there willy-nilly. I'm not going there to hang out and make small talk with other resellers. I have my head down, I'm focused, and I'm grabbing and going. What I mean by grabbing and going is if I see something nice, I grab it and I put it in the cart and I keep going. I don't stop and look it up right then and there. There's no point, because in the time that you're wasting looking things up then and there, someone could be grabbing another item that's 5 feet away from you, but you're too distracted. So grab and go find a place in the corner. When you're done, then look through everything once you've kind of gone through the whole thrift store and you've put eyes on everything. Then after that, go around again. Take a second lap around because you never know what you will find. Maybe you missed it the first time because you were distracted. Maybe you were on your phone. Maybe someone said hi to you and you missed that $300 puffer jacket. The moral of the story is you need to learn your thrift stores, the ones that you go to all the time, your bread and butters, your honey holes. You need to understand how those stores work, when they have sales, who the employees are, how they price things. So like for me, I know the thrift store that way overprices everything clothing related, but the thrift store that way, fantastic deals on clothing. So it's knowing those things and knowing where to spend your time or where to not spend your time. That's the most important part, is don't waste your time at places that won't pay you. Knowing those things will help your reselling career so much. And tip number 5, this is something that people disagree with me on, but that's totally fine. Find out what you want to sell and pretty much stick to that. Now, I mostly sell used men's clothing. I don't sell clothing. I don't really touch kids' clothes. I'm not interested in women's clothing. I sell used men's clothing. And in that niche, I'm very specific. I sell mostly activewear and hiking and kind of like old manish clothes, like workwear and, you know, more practical utility type stuff. I'm not so much going after the fashion nonsense or the trendy BS or whatever. I'm going after practical, useful clothing that normal everyday people are gonna wear every single day. That stuff is easy to sell, it's easy to find, and you know what? It works for me. Now, some people may disagree. They say, don't niche down, sell everything under the radar. And you know, my first year of being a reseller, that's what I did. I sold everything from reel-to-reel players to record players to ink toners to clothing to skateboards to anything I can make a penny off of. I was kind of like just desperate for money. We did really well financially that year, but I went crazy. Because you know what? If you wake up tomorrow and you know you just sold a $500 reel-to-reel player that's super rare and it weighs 55 to 60 pounds, you know that that morning you have to wake up and you have to ship that item, and then you have to worry about it. You have to worry about it while it's shipping. When it gets to the person, maybe the person's a scammer, they're gonna take a part out and say it doesn't work. There's a million different things that can happen. I am not stressed selling used clothes online. Like, it's so easy. I literally just wake up, throw stuff in a bag, and I'm done. Rather than spending, you know, maybe 30 minutes to pack one item like I used to. I don't like to sell that way. I don't like to be stressed. I don't like to create like this job for myself and worry about in the morning waking up and, oh, I gotta pack stuff. Then you get grumpy, you get burned out, you get all these things. So find a niche that you enjoy, right? So I enjoy clothing. I like dressing nice. I worked in the fashion world in New York City, so I understand it. It's very easy for me. For some people, it's not easy. Some people have never had a fashionable bone in their body and they just can't grasp clothing. Like, they literally just don't understand what is cool, what is not cool, what is good quality, what is bad quality. Those things can be learned, but if you have something that comes naturally to you, I highly suggest you go after that first, rather than try to copy someone like me who already has a diverse knowledge of clothing, an interest in clothing, and I can kind of run circles around you. Be surrounded by stuff you actually want to like touch and enjoy and maybe test. Maybe you love electronics. Maybe you love vintage reel-to-reel players, record players, music stuff. Test that stuff, play with it, fix it. Don't worry about all the other millions of markets out there. Start with what you want to start with and then go from there. There's nothing wrong with expanding, but there is something wrong with getting burnt out from trying to do too much. So start slow, do what you know, like, and trust, sell what you can be confident in selling, and then expand from there once you have the experience. And again, if this video was helpful, please smash that like button, do me a solid, help me grow this channel, help me grow this passive income stream. And until next time, cheers.